Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Dad Speak, a show where real dads share their stories about being present in their children's lives with the goal of raising responsible adults. I met today's guest in May of 1989 when we were both in the academy as student police officers. We have since retired from law enforcement and started new careers. My guest has started his own company, which allows him to select assignments that permit him to spend more time with his family. My guest today is Kevin Dorsey. Thank you, Kevin, for being here.
Oh, glad to be here. Thank you, sir.
It was rough trying to get you. You're a busy man.
Never too busy. Never too busy.
All right. I like to start off with some basic questions about you. So the first question is, in what city did you grow up?
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Graduated high school from Cass Tech, downtown Detroit.
All right. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got two, Tracy and Candy.
Are you guys close?
Yeah, we're real close. Candace, she's a retired law enforcement also, and then my sister Tracy, she's out in, she relocated. She lives out in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay. All right. What did your parents do for a living?
Okay, my father was he was in like the grocery store business. He was always like a manager in the grocery stores. When I came up, like all over Detroit, and then my mom worked for the city of Detroit, and she worked for uh, like transportation, like the bus company that was downtown, and she held various positions there. And then she moved on and joined Cobo Center, and so she was like in marketing and management and stuff like that.
So, when you were growing up, what kind of activities did you guys do as a family?
Growing up,
Yeah.
um, well, I mean, I was a regular neighborhood kid, so I, you know, played all the sports in the neighborhood, and then as a family, my mom took us out, and did various stuff like the museums and art institutes and Greenfield Village and all the stuff that the normal inner city kids. So we had a big family. We was all close knit. The reunions, and my grandparents both lived in town, and all the family, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody stayed in the Detroit area. So um, yeah, everybody has since moved, but we were close coming up.
Did you ever think about following your mom or your dad's footstep, being management?
Uh, no, not necessarily, man. My dad, he was a grocery store manager, but managing grocery stores in Detroit, it was always a lot of drama, because he was an inner city dude, and his stores were all in the city, and he, experienced all the things that goes along with that. My mom, um, you know, I did, early on think about, it's cool having people under you, and maybe one day being a boss or being in management. But, I was really young, so I didn't really pay it too much attention what they were doing. We just took everything for granted and just enjoyed, ourselves.
Okay. So, when did you decide you wanted to get married and have a family?
Oh, man, it was time. I've been married 20 years now, and, and, uh, yeah, I've been married 20 years now, and that's good. My wife's name is Lakita, and she was the one. I was a single parent for a while, and then I met Lakita, and we vibed real well. And she ended up being close to my daughter. I just had my daughter Kelly at that time, and it was a good fit. She fit right in, and I like to think I fit right in. She come from a good family, strong family, two-parent household. She didn't have any kids. She worked. She just finished up college, and it was a good fit. She was a good role model for my daughter, and she was everything that I wanted in a wife. She was a good person. So the decision to ask her to marry me was easy. Uh, yeah, it was pretty easy.
So, did you feel like, you watch your mom, dad, your grandparents, you feel like, yeah, I could do this. I can relate
Um,
to that.
Well, like my grandparents have been. I don't even know how long they were married. They both have passed since then, but they were married like forever, probably 50 years or so. My parents married probably for 20 years, and then they divorced. But it didn't discourage me, and marriage wasn't something that I'd always. It wasn't one of my goals in life was to get married. I wasn't anti-marriage, but it wasn't like one of my goals. Growing up in the city. You just want to make it. You just want to survive. You want to grow up, get an education, get a good job, and those were my most immediate goals. Marriage was a bonus.
Okay. All right. So after you graduated from high school, did you attend college or you got a job doing something else?
Oh, that's funny, man. I'll be honest, man. I attempted. I laugh at myself now. I attempted college, but I wasn't really college material. That's the best way I can describe it. Um, I didn't do very well in high school. I went to a good high school, but I had a lot of things going on, so I didn't do very well in high school. So when I got out of high school, I was in a situation where I needed to work. To be quite honest, I tried to go to community college, um, but I wasn't focused. I wasn't focused at all. And for me, the best move was to um, get some employment, stay out the way, stay out of trouble, and make something out myself.
Okay. So college wasn't for you. So what kind of job did you get?
Let me think about it because I went through a couple of jobs when I left school. So one job I was at, I was, let me think, where was I? Oh, I took a job at Mays Printing Company on Livernois.
Okay.
And it was a black-owned printing company. And I had taken graphic arts in high school, so I thought I would go into that. I had graphic arts and photography, so I went to Mays Printing Company, and I did a lot of darkroom work and pre-press work, preparing plates and stuff like that. And we were known for like doing all the funeral programs in the city, and so I worked specifically on a lot of that stuff and newsletters for different agencies, for different organizations and books. And anyway, I did that stuff, and then. Oh, it's funny because then I wanted to. I had another job opportunity at Grace Hospital, which was also in Detroit.
All right. We're having a little technical difficulty, so Kevin has moved inside. And so you were saying you were working at Maze Printing
Yeah,
and
so I was at Mays Printing, and then I had a job opportunity at Grace Hospital. I asked Mays for more money. He told me no, so I left and went to Grace Hospital, and I stayed there for a couple of years in housekeeping. And actually, that was that. Some people, I don't know how people look at housekeeping, but I enjoyed myself. It was real people that I worked around. It was a good environment. It was steady income. Um, and then from there, I went to the police academy. I talked to my people there and said, "Hey, I got an opportunity to be a police officer." They're really supportive, and I left and joined the academy and never looked back. Law enforcement became my career. And
who talked to you about joining the police department? You didn't just
oh, oh man, my mother did. My mother was.
oh
I was. Well, you know, I wasn't. I was taking community. I was at community college also taking classes, but I wasn't doing very well, and I was treating it like high school. I was dropping classes, just nonsense. So there was an article in the paper to join the police department. They were hiring Detroit police, and my mother showed me the article, and she was like, "You need to go down there and apply to be a police officer." I had never been in trouble, good record, and it was a good job opportunity. you know, Sarah, you know the story on that. So I went and applied. Never wanted to be the police. Um, but next thing you know, I was, taking the physical agility just like you and the written test and the physical, and I was passing everything. Next thing you know, they said you start the academy, and that was that.
hmm. So we both got laid off and
Yes,
went somewhere else. And
yes, I did. When I got laid off, I went to Ypsilanti Police Department. They were hiring. I had actually applied for Atlanta and for Ypsilanti, and they both called, and I was bouncing between the two with going through the process to get hired, and I was like, whoever offered me the job first, I'm taking it. And Atlanta drugged their feet, and I got the offer from Ypsilanti, and I started, and once again, that ended up being home for me. Ypsilanti brought us back. I didn't come back. I had been in Ipsy for maybe a couple of years at that time, and Ipsy at that time had a you can retire faster. It was 20 years and out. I would be on schedule to retire at 46 years old. So I, talked with my mom, and that was the plan. Be the police, stay in Ipsy, uh, retire at 46, and then figure out what to do next. And that was the game plan, and I stuck with it. And so far, so good.
All right. So is Ipsy where you met your wife?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. So when and how did you meet her?
She worked at a she worked at a clothing store, a record store that was in the area where I patrolled. And I want to lie, but she's at the next table in the next room, so she might correct me. But anyway, I did some light stalking and light stalking, not heavy, and and yeah. Why you laughing?
Because you pretended like you wanted to buy something in
Yeah,
there, had no
yeah,
interest in
yeah,
it.
I was in there all the time. I was in there all the time, and she was just, she was just a really good person. She was cute, she was attractive, and she had a really good personality, and I used to make her laugh, and I knew I was in when I knew I could make her laugh. That was it, and yeah, it blossomed from there, and yeah, that's how I met my wife. But yeah, she worked at Puffer Reds in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Okay. So how many children do you guys have?
We had three. So my daughter was I
Or-
already had my daughter previous to being married, and then we had two big head boys together, and they're now 15 and 18.
Okay. So did you plan to have more, or you said after the two we're good?
No, we were good. I think in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I'd like to have another. We both were like that, but we were like, we want to be able to afford what we got, also. Uh,
Right.
we were doing okay, but we weren't making all the money in the world, and we just, you know, we took what God gave us. He gave us two boys, and that's what we roll with.
Okay. So how do you keep those boys busy,
That's
or how
that.
did you keep when they were smaller, and now how?
They've always, I'm be honest, they were good. They were good boys. I always call them dudes, but our boys are really, and I know a lot of parents say it, but they're really good boys, and well mannered. They're raised right here in Ypsilanti with the two of us. They always been in sports since they was small. We put them in sports. I know I push sports real hard, but my wife is the same way. They both excelled. They both played soccer. They both played basketball. They were involved in the church. They were in the children's ministry. They were so they had a good background. Um, um, we just wanted to do it right. We wanted to. We both were on the same page. We were both raised right, but we wanted to make sure our boys were focused. We kept them busy, and so far so good.
Okay. So when you were in school, did you play sports in school, or
No,
just
no, no, no. I
did
didn't.
you
I,
ever
I
want to
didn't
play
play for.
professionally?
No, I didn't play for any teams when I was in school. I was a neighborhood dude. I played basketball at every park in the neighborhood and every gym that I can get into, but I didn't play for my high school. Um,
Right. Did you
nah,
ever? Did you
pardon
ever
me.
play? Did you ever want to play like professionally? Did you want to
Oh
like
yeah,
one
oh
day?
yeah. Every kid, every Detroit kid wants to play for the Pistons or the Lions or something. Basketball was my favorite sport. Of course, I wanted to play, and it's funny when I was on the police department, and I was getting close to the end. I was like thinking about retirement. I said, "What do I want to do in retirement?" So I wrote on a piece of paper. I said, "I want to be in music. I want to work for in the NBA, or I want to work. Don't ask me why. Or I want to work for Nike. I always just been big on Nike for some reason. I know it's in Oregon. I didn't think that part through, but I wanted to work for Nike, and I wanted to be involved in music. And in a roundabout way, I kind of got all of it.
Okay. Now, how do you mean that? What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Well, I ended up doing security in the entertainment field. I do executive protection, so I was able to work with entertainers. And then for the NBA, I ended up getting a job with the Detroit Pistons. I'm not I didn't make it as a player, but I did get a job. I did get a job, and I wear so much Nike. You swear I work for
You're not the only one. I got every
them.
my jogging suits got Nike. All my gym shoes are Nike.
Oh
I
my
wear
God,
Nike.
man. And then my job is affiliated with Nike. So,
Hey,
I take whatever gifts they give me at, every chance I get. If it say Nike, I'm wearing it.
okay. All right. So you see, you had your kids playing sports. Did you choose which sport they played in, or did you and your wife, or did you guys
Yeah,
all?
we just paid attention to what was around us. Like in our neighborhood, they had like soccer, basketball. Those were big in our neighborhood, so we signed them. We signed them both up for soccer. When the youngest was old enough, he played soccer too. But my oldest boy, his name is Cameron. He was really, really, really good in soccer, and we thought that's the way he was going to go. So he played soccer for years. He played on travel teams, but then he also excelled in basketball too. So he did the same in basketball. He played AAU basketball. He played, they both played in any of the youth leagues. They both played for their high schools. Um, I'm getting way ahead of myself. One of them is getting ready to go to college now to play basketball, and the other one, he was more focused on football. He plays both, but he excels at football. So he's a high school football player, and the other one is about to be a college player in basketball.
So how often did you attend their games when you were working, still working? For the
Um,
police department, or
when I was at the police department, I mean, you take what you can get. I couldn't attend everything. My wife was there for pretty much everything, and my daughter, Kelly, was there. But my wife pretty much was the leader with that. The way my schedule was, I worked every other weekend. So if it fell on my off weekend, then I was there, or if I can get the time off, I was there. But we both made sure that they got to wherever they were supposed to be, and they always were playing something. Everybody that knows us knows our kids were always, and they love it. We didn't have to push them. It wasn't that type of situation. They love, they love to play sports. They're very competitive.
okay. So have they told you how much it means to them, or how they feel to have you attend their games? And no.
Well, it's funny, as you get older, then you start, as you mature, you start appreciating things. You can look back and say what you appreciate about your parents. And our kids, when we do have those conversations, then we have our exchanges about that. But for the most part, I really believe they're just living in the moment. They're not realizing the sacrifices that their parents make. Um, um, I don't think they really get it right now, and I'm okay with it, because I know that they're doing what they love to do, and when we have our talks, then they are, they do tell us, hey, they'll talk about how much they appreciate it, or especially, they know these sports are not cheap.
Mhm.
They know that. So definitely when my wife or I, and we go out and get them some of the equipment they need, and they get wind of what this stuff costs, they let us know, But my thing to them is always just make it worth it. If we doing all this, just, make it worth it. For me and the boys, it was always a way to keep them off the street, keep them focused. Quick story: when I was with the police department, a lot of the well, I won't say a lot, but quite a few guys that I would be in. I was a talker, so we'd be
No.
I'd be talking to guys, and I kind of pick their brain a little bit. And a lot of them had the same thing that I didn't have. I didn't have a father in my life, so I turned to the streets, or I didn't have anybody that did all, took me here and took me there, and I relied on the guys on the street, and they ended up going that route. But my thing was, and it played into my retirement, that my kids are never going to have that excuse. My boys, no matter what it took, they're not going to have the excuse of us not being there, or I'm gonna make sure that I'm there to. Um, do what needs to be done to keep them focused. And that's what happened. Once I retired, I stayed home for a while, for a couple of years, and focused um, on the kids. And me and my wife, we both went through that. When I went back to work, After when she had the boys, she stayed home and she kept them in order and took care of all their needs. It's like tag team, you know. You just jump in, you just jump in and get it done.
Do they talk about playing professional sports,
Of
or
course.
are they looking? Oh, so they're just wondering because they said I do this, but I really want to be a doctor.
Yeah,
Or
of course they talk about. I mean, they both have. I mean, my son Cameron that plays basketball, he's more into. I mean, yeah, he would love to play it, but he's grounded in reality too. So his thing is he wants to remain in sports. If he's not playing, he wants to be a trainer or a coach or something like that. And then my other son, he's really strong academically because even he says that when he graduates from high school, he said he wants his scholarship uh, in academics. He wants to get one in sports too, but he wants to be recognized for his academics. He wants a scholarship for his grades, but he wants to go and play football in college. And then my oldest, that's my youngest son, that's 15. But my 18-year-old, he was like, I just want whoever offered me a basketball scholarship. that's that's where I want to do. I want to go play basketball. I don't. He didn't care where. He didn't care where it was that he wanted to go play basketball. And he marketed himself effectively when he got when he graduated, and he ended up getting a scholarship.
okay, so
My
so
kids they real smart and
yeah.
their determination is unreal, man. Like yeah, this dude, I'm telling you, he sat home making highlight reels and everything on himself and was sending it to coaches like, check me out.
Like father, like son.
it,
Okay,
it worked though, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, did we help? Yeah, but did he do most of the work? Yeah, he was contacting coaches, like, you know.
So, knowing all of this, did it cross your mind to offer them a job to come and work for you? Uh,
Um,
or
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I wanted to be there for them. I would like if they don't, if whatever their plan is don't work, then the
right?
business is there. The
Oh,
business is there. The business so far is successful. It's there, but I don't push it on them at all. I want them to be their own man. If they never go into it, that's fine with me. But if it, you know how you grow, you go, you try this. You thought you was gonna love it and you hate it. The business is gonna be there.
okay. So, what has being able to select your assignments taught you about the value of your time?
Um, my time is more important than anything. My time is more important than the money. I could go out and make. I won't say a lot. I can go out and make quite a bit of money, um, but it would take the sacrifice of my time, and that's not something right now that I'm willing to give up. Um, they're only going to be teenagers once,
Right.
right? They're only going to do this once, and I don't want to have regrets. And I just want to do things. I just want to do things differently. I didn't have it like that when I grew up. I didn't have it quite the way that we have it now.
All right. So your time is so valuable to you. When and why did you decide to start your own business?
Uh, that's a oh. The thought was always it was always in the back of my mind, like everybody else. We all sit around talking about, man, I'm gonna do my own thing, and you see stuff on television, and you kind of fantasize about making all this money and owning your own business and being your own boss. And I'll tell you how mine's happened though. I retired in 2012. I was doing executive protection, so I was working with I won't say it, but I was working with an entertainer, and I had been working with him for, I don't know, man, at that time maybe about 8 years or so, something like that. And um, I was gonna I was gonna part ways with him, and so it was a 3-man security team, and I was the third man, so I wasn't the number one and number two. I was getting what was left on the shows, traveling on the road, and I was like, um, I'm just gonna step off and go another route. Make a long story short, he convinced me um, uh, to start my own company. When I told him I was leaving, I called myself resigning. He was like, "You're not going nowhere. You're gonna start your own company, and you start your own company, I'll give you a contract." And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" And he said, "Yeah." And this was on a Friday. We were in like a Delta Sky Club. He said, "Have your business, have it up running by Monday. If you have it up by running Monday, I'll give you a contract." And I went home, got my kids, my wife. I said, "We got to start a company by Monday. What we gonna call it? It's gonna be security." And we bounced around Dorsey Protection Services, and we got on there and jumped on the computer and started the LLC. And I called them back Monday. I said, "Okay, this is what it's called. I ain't got everything together, but this is what it is." It's okay, good. You did what I asked you to do, and I've been with them ever since.
Okay.
That was the start, and um, he kept his word. That was in 2019, and he's like my biggest my biggest client, to be honest with you.
Now, because of the time that it affords you to have your own business, you recommend other fathers try it. But I know you probably have to pick out the type of business that won't, you know,
Yeah,
require
it's
in a
I mean, but
building.
it's not for everybody, you know.
Right.
um um we experienced the pandemic right after I started my business, you know. Nobody anticipated that. Everything shut down. The business was shut down. It was
Right.
like clamps, nothing, no nothing. And we had to weather the storm just like everybody else. But it's got its rewards too. Um, my particular business in doing security, when I say I pick and choose what I do, there are some things that I'm just not interested in doing, and I like to do assignments that pay really well. That way, I don't have to work all the time. I can be busy and take a lot of jobs that pay low, but you got to take a lot of jobs to
Right.
make money. I choose not to go that route. There are companies that's out there that are coming, I don't know, patrol the parking lot and walk around the mall. I'm just not that company. There's guys out there that's not beneath me. I'm just not interested in doing that. I'd rather do things that pay really well, and then I don't have to do it as often. And then even bigger than that is employing the right people. I bring in guys to do security for the company. I bring in quality guys. A lot of guys are ex-law enforcement, security backgrounds. I pay really well, and that way I get the cream of the crop. If you get a guy and you're only going to pay him 10 to 15 bucks an hour, then a lot of times he's going to be an opportunist, because when he
Right.
goes on these assignments, he's going to see an opportunity, you know, and he may take it. So I don't employ. I bring in guys that I pay very well so that they know they're going to walk away with money, and I pay quick. You know, that's just my model. You know, when you come work for me, if you work for me on a Friday, you're going to have your money Saturday. That's just how I do it. It worked for me. But that way, when I get an assignment, I'll get the top guys, because when I call you, you say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come work for you because I know I'm gonna get paid quick, and I know the pay is gonna be right." And what I charge my clients, it's not cheap, but that's why I say it ain't for everybody. I don't work all the time, but when I work, I do all right.
Okay. So, do you wish you had started earlier, or do you think you needed the experience prior to to?
You know what? I did need the experience. Of course, you wish you can go back and make the money earlier,
Mhm.
but you can't. You don't make the money unless you get the experience and you know what you're doing.
Right.
So it was, it wasn't on my schedule. Um, I had to pay my dues. I had to go out on the road. I had to miss a lot of events. I had to go on the road and travel. I had to, I had to sleep in airports. I had to sleep in hotel lobbies because rooms ain't ready. I had to do a lot of things to pay my dues. Um, I had to do what was necessary for me to appreciate it today, and for me to be successful.
So now that you're making your own schedule during the off season, what other family activities do you do? Like fishing, swimming, traveling?
Now, you know what? I became. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't do as much as I used to do. Everything I do, really, I'm being honest, is family based.
All right.
I leave the house. My kids got a game or something, or they want to go somewhere, or my wife, I date night. dinner. We don't vacation a lot. We should vacation more. But I'm be honest, I don't really go anywhere besides to work. And outside of that, the only thing I really like to do is be around my family. I don't hang out with the guys. I don't do bars no more. I don't do clubs. Um, I stay focused. If I leave this house, it's to take an assignment to work, or it's to take care of my family. I don't do the stuff that I used to. I don't hang out like that.
So when you go to your kids' game, who's cheering the loudest? Is it you or your wife?
Nah, man, we be neck and neck, man. We yeah, we get our exercise when we go to their games. I can tell you that. I get on her nerves when we go to the games. I'll be honest, because I
So
can't sit still. Like she be like, "Where are you going?" And I'm up and down the bleachers. I'm on the rail, you know. And he made my son to play football. He like stop yelling instructions because you're telling me to do something, and my coach telling me to do something else.
so
so,
so
so
so have you ever been warned by an official to tone down
oh no,
your
I'm not that. I'm
behavior?
not. No, I'm
Okay.
not that. I'm not that parent. Even though
I was gonna say, have you seen some parents who have been warned by the
oh
officials?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah. I've seen
know
parents. I've
what?
seen parents been escorted out of there. You know, I've seen parents get escorted out because they do too much. Now I'm nowhere near that.
Okay.
I'm nowhere near that. Like the basketball games, we supporters, we yelling. I get in on the ref every once in a while. If um, I get in on the ref a little once in a while. That's part of their job. That they expect it. They know it. But I'm friends with a few of the refs. Like when they're not refing, we play basketball together.
Oh, okay.
Because my thing is just call the games fair. Don't
Right.
let don't let my son be getting my son that plays basketball is 5'7". So I'm not like gonna sit here and let these 6'5" guys just bash them. I'm gonna yell at the ref, dude. You got to call that. But yeah, I'm not bad. I'm just a supporter. I just support my kids.
So how does it make you feel knowing that, with this business that you can go to a games, you don't have to worry about arriving there late because you got off work late, or you have to leave early because you got to go to work. How does that make you feel?
Um, um, I mean, I feel good about everything. I mean, I'm a happy person. And this is what's great. Like my son that play basketball, it's crazy. Like, I design my life like around my kids. So with the security company, my son played basketball, so I started doing the security for the school. So I come to his games and get paid. So I have my team of guys at a basketball game, and those don't pay as much as the others, but I take it because I say I can still work and I can see him play. So I've done seasons where I was the security team for the school, football and basketball. My kids playing, yeah, I tell them, yeah, I'll do the security. I'll bring my team out, because I'm gonna be there anyway. So I might as well make it. I might as well make a couple dollars. My kids are used to it though. They're like, oh, my dad's got his security guys here.
Well,
So,
that's
but
beautiful.
but the kids, I'm close to a lot of their friends, and they all cool with it. And I give some of the kids with like we of course we wear Nike security outfits. And the kids be like, when you gonna get me a shirt, Mr. Dorsey? I give you a security shirt, say Dorsey protection with the Nike. I've gifted a few kids.
Oh, that's cute.
I
That's
have, I
cute.
have.
All
So
right, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I want to talk about real dads today. Not fathers, but I want to talk about dads. Anybody can be a father. Take a real man to be a daddy, though. See, Father's Day changes as you get older. Sometimes being a father, just like being a mother, is a thankless job sometimes. You put your all in all into your kids, you don't know what you mean to them. And then, as you get older, when you're a kid, you don't necessarily understand or even appreciate what your dad is trying to do for you. But it's only when you get older, you step back, you move out the house, maybe even start a family on your own, you start to really realize, man, what that man meant to me, my dad, what he tried to teach me, all the lessons.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Real Dad Speak. We're talking with entrepreneur Kevin Dorsey uh, because he has got a business which allows him to spend more time with his family, especially being able to attend games of his children who play basketball and football. And right now, Kevin, this is the part of my show where I call it the final five. These are either questions or fill in the blanks. So, got five of them. So, number one, uh, when you were growing up, what was your dream job to be as an adult?
Basketball player, or don't even ask me why. I wanted to be on the news. I want to be like a sports anchor. I wanted, yeah, I did. I wanted to be the dude. Serious, I wanted to be the dude that did the sports. I called one when I know it's off topic. I called Channel 2 one day because I had an assignment due, and they said you got to interview somebody. So I called Channel 2 and interviewed the sports guy that was on the news, and it was, yeah, it was cool. I really wanted to. That's what I
Okay.
was gonna do.
All right. All right. So, number two, is there something you had as a child that you believe children are missing out on today?
Um, yeah, but it's I just believe that I can just speak for myself. Like our families were a lot closer. Our families, when I say families, bigger than brother, sister, I mean all the cousins and the grandparents and even the great grandparents, aunts, uncles. I grew up around a really big family, and I feel like I benefited from that. I got a lot of close cousins, but my kids, and I can't say all kids are like that, but my kids were not born into that. They don't have a lot of family. The family that we did have all moved away. So it's basically just us. And I don't like to sound so selfish when I talk about my kids, but we don't like have people here. We don't have people here. So that's why I kind of have to step in and fill in a lot of those voids with my kids. But I would say that's missing for us. I wish my kids had grown up with, around cousins and all that other stuff.
That extended family. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, who gave you the best advice? This is question number three. Who gave you the best advice? Was it your mom or your dad?
Um, wow, that's a tough because my dad's stuff was like uh my dad's stuff was like the tough. He was more like tough love, like the do's and don'ts and the repercussions when you wrong. But my mom was more of teaching you like the family stuff and how to treat people, but my dad was more like on the defensive side on what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. And my dad was, yeah, my dad was a tough guy, and he wanted to make sure that not so much I followed in his steps, but I wasn't a person that would let people run me over. And he did a good job with that. My mom was more into family and treat your family right, and look after your sisters and stuff like that.
Number four, what was one of the hardest lessons you learned while growing up?
Um, the hardest lesson I learned growing up. Oh, that's a really good question, Sarah. Where'd you get that from? The hardest lesson that I grew up. I don't know. Well, I would probably say just kind of thinking that it was going to be easy, because you look at how your parents did it, and you just took for granted that this is just automatic. That food, money's going to come in. We always going to have food. The bills are always going to be paid. As a child, you don't realize what it took to get that stuff done. But as an adult, you know, you got to balance stuff. And maybe I'm doing okay today as a business owner, but it wasn't always like that. I'm just like every other Detroit guy. When I first struck out on my own, I was struggling. Which is why I appreciate it so much more now. I was struggling. I mean, especially this Sarah, when we got laid off,
Oh, yeah.
that was no joke. Like that unemployment check didn't cover everything. My unemployment check was like 555. My rent was 555. So what you gonna do with lights, cable, food, all that other stuff?
Right.
That was no joke. But when you're growing up, your parents make it, for some, they make it look like it's just automatic. It's easy. I didn't really think about where all this is coming from. So that.
Okay. All right. Number five. think of the things that your children know that you do well, and then fill in these blanks. So your kids will say, "My dad is better." I'm sorry, my dad is a better blank than he is a blank.
Oh, that's easy because the first one is always going to be they know I'm a good father. And outside of that, it could be anything basketball, football. Uh,
So you're a better dad than you are a basketball player, football player.
they say I'm a better father than any. They don't give me my credit on anything else. They just say, yeah, you good to us, but it might be suspect. I still play basketball with them, and
Okay.
and
And they win?
I don't play against them.
Oh, okay.
I don't play against them. I hear those stories about fathers. I played with my son until he was able to beat me. Then I stopped playing. They both swear they could still beat me. I still think I could take them. I really do. But only because they're both better athletes and
Uh-huh.
they're both better fundamentally shooting the ball. But I'm more physical, so I'm gonna beat them down if I play them. That's where that's where I feel like I'm gonna get them.
Okay.
But they're both better. They're both better. They are.
Well, that was it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Pleasure. My pleasure. And we will talk soon.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Real Dad Speak. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks a lot.